Comfortably out, though.
Sunderland 0, Manchester City 0. It would actually be a theme of the Premier League today. What that means, Arsenal fans very happy with the start of the year as they are 4 points clear at the top of the table. This officially the halfway point of the Premier League season. For more on this, let's walk in, shall we? Julien joins us. And what a way to start 2026. Craig Burley is with us. He's not in the studio because he's sick, but so vigilant is he has to work through it. Burley, what did you make of the City performance today?
Well, this is the way forward for 2026. I can't be bothered to get off my backside.
Everyone's a winner. Everyone's a winner. You stay home as long as you like.
Everyone's a winner. Nobody gets sick. Nobody has to put up with me. Listen, I thought, when Rodri came on, they really had a lot more control of the game. Obviously, Doku gave him a bit of pace when Savino went off. But when Rodri came on, they really took control of the game in the second half. And maybe Sunderland a bit fortunate at the end when you saw the chances there and a couple of good saves. The one in the first half from Haaland, he hits it straight at him. I don't think the contact is super clean. But, you've got to give Sunderland a lot of credit. What the job they've done this year, particularly their home form, the way that they pressed City, the way that they were physical, they did not make it easy for them. And that was a really tough game for Man City. Whether it'll be a good point between now and the end of the season, who knows? But I thought Sunderland, you can see why they are in the league because of the way they go about the game. I wish more teams down the bottom half of the Premier League that come up from the Championship would go about it this way, where they don't just sit back. But in the end, I think, City could have won it, guys, in the second half. But, fortune wasn't on their side today in terms of in front of goal.
This is the Sunderland side, of course, who got a point against Arsenal at home earlier on in the season as well, Jules. This was the game that I think we all expected, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably the physicality, how solid defensively Sunderland can be, especially at home. That's why they recruited some of those players. Shaka, Gertruda, Mukiele, Alderete, all of them have also side of it for Hislop, and they did that well today. Actually, I thought at the start they were trying to play out from the back, and you were thinking like, well, why would you do that against City at home? And as soon as they started playing long on the Bobby chance that we saw, there's another one for Adingra later on in that first half as well. It was much better, and that's why they're very good at. That's why they're still unbeaten at home, like you said, Dan, and that's why it's so difficult to go to the Stadium of Light and play against them. And I agree with Craig. City should have won that game in the second half only. They had enough chances to win, and it's a big miss, I think, a big missed opportunity for them. But for Sunderland, it's what they've done so far, so good this season, so strong defensively.
How significant a result is this in the title race?
Well, given what you've seen over the weekend, Arsenal beating Villa as they did, as comfortably as that was, I thought that was a bit of a marker, kind of given some of Arsenal's stuttering, if you can call it that. Not winning games, but not overly convincing. And then they do that to Villa, given the run that Villa were on. You were looking for City to respond in kind against a very good Sunderland team, particularly the Stadium of Light. But I just thought this was more... Well, I thought Sunderland did wonderfully well, as you'd expect from them. I mean, you know what they're good at, and I think they have so much balance. But at the same time, I feel there was some below-par performances on the Man City team, and I'm thinking primarily at Haaland here. Listen, he doesn't give you an awful lot outside of his goals. So when you get chances like the one he did in the first half, normally you put your mortgage on those. But he fluffed his lines, and then, Man City's wheels got turning in the second half. Again, you saw the disciplined defensive side of Sunderland rode their luck a little bit. Ross had to come up big with a couple of saves. But this is a Sunderland team that are very balanced, very disciplined, particularly at home. And, well, yeah, you could say City probably should have won it. You can't deny that Sunderland equally were deserving of their point.
Good Christmas for Arsenal, Craig.
Yeah, it was, and particularly that second half against Aston Villa, obviously, and then obviously, Man City dropping a couple of points. But, you talk about rotating. I understand Guardiola he wanted to rotate him. He's played a lot of games. He's been very good. Ake comes in. The Reinders one was a bit strange to me. Reinders has not always started, so he's not somebody that's played every game. And he scored against...
We've lost Craig there. Happy New Year, everyone.
1, 2, 3,
oh, wait, no,
4,
he's
5,
back.
6, 7,
he's
8,
practicing
9.
his counting. That's good. He's a robot. Craig, can you hear us again, mate?
Yeah, I heard you.
Well, why'd you start counting in the middle of it?
Because I was told to. I mean, I think they want to know that if I went to school or not.
Since when have you ever done what you're told?
Well, listen, I was just about to say about Reinders. Reinders scored against Nottingham Forest on the 27th. That lovely ball from Cherky through to him. Then he leaves him on the bench today. So, things like that, a guy who's, come in, he's in the side, he's scored. All of a sudden, he sort of leaves him out. I understand all the rotation, but sometimes with certain players, it's a little bit baffling. They had 6 players away. I think 6 players at the AFCON at Sunderland, not all starters, but they had 6 players away. And this is a team that's come up from the Championship. Can you imagine all we hear from these top managers? I know we're going to get to Maresca in a little bit, but he was one whining about games, this, that, and the next thing. All these ones at the top, they're all the same. And yet we have a team up from the Championship with 6 players away, just getting on with it and being super competitive. And what about Granit Xhaka again in the middle of the park? So yeah, tough game for Man City. And I think when Arsenal look back at the game at Sunderland they were 2-1 up with not long left to go, digging a result out there and dropped a couple of points. It's been tough for a lot of teams up there at the Stadium of Light.
I tell you what, Jules, as an Arsenal fan, you'd have taken a 4-point lead, wouldn't you? Halfway through the season?
At the time, the players would be super happy to be in that position now. I mean, it was not always perfect in the first half of the season. There were some really good performances. At times, I think they looked a bit tired, maybe a bit predictable with the ball. They had set pieces, of course, but the overall performances were not always maybe the greatest. But to get at this stage of the season with that lead, similar goal difference as we saw, there's just a +1 for City and of Arsenal, but also to have played away at United and away at Liverpool and away at Chelsea, the 2 Villa games are done, away at Newcastle, and yes, you will have to go to City and go to Spurs. But I think with the scheduling of that first half of the season, I think they'll be very happy with where they are.
Listen to the excitement, the hope in Jules' voice.
Well, the other thing is, guys, that City are 4 points behind with a striker who's had a great start to the season, and Arsenal are sitting top with a new striker who's yet to get going. Whether he will or not remains to be seen. But I think that is a positive in some sense for Arsenal, that if Gyökeres has a better second half of the season, then it could put the nail in the coffin. The big question is can Arsenal play to his strengths and can he score the goals? So Arsenal are doing it at the moment without a number 9 once more who's in banging form. Where City have got a striker who's banging the goals in.
And Jules, your golden boy is back, Kai Havertz. Get rid of Gyökeres, that's it.
I mean, Havertz being back on the bench against Villa, I think it was good news. There's Gabriel Jesus, who scored a lovely goal on his first touch when he came on. Gyökeres is very progress, like Craig just said, who I think does provide something really good in terms of physicality and work rate and pressing and that kind of stuff as a number 9. Yet the goals are not there yet as much as probably him and the team and Arteta would like it to be. But what that gives you, Havertz, Gabriel Jesus and Gyökeres, is 3 very different profiles of number 9. You can even add Merino to that list if you want. They all have different skill sets, different things, and you can either put 2 together, you can start a different one depending on the opposition, and if you're home or away, it gives you just a lot of variation tactically that you didn't have. For example, last season when Gabriel Jesus was injured, for example, you didn't have Gyökeres and it was only Kai Havertz there.
So excited, Jules. ESPN FC continues tomorrow. What's the bet we end the show with just me and you, Shaq, with these internet connections today, by the way?